Hello, I'm Aiden.
And I'm Josh. Welcome to Undead Ramblings, where we talk all things Call of Duty Zombies, amongst other games, movies, and other media.
This is episode 29 of our podcast. Last episode, we had our special guests, Oscar and Trico, join us as we wrapped up the Black Ops 2 Zombies season arc and added the maps in that season to our ranking board, as well as teased our likes and dislikes about the Black Ops 3 maps. So feel free to go ahead and check that out if you haven't seen it, as well as any previous other episodes on the channel. And thank you to everyone who has watched and supported the podcast so far and supported the channel, because lo and behold, Josh is now at 9,000 subscribers.
Woo! Honestly, though, thanks a lot. The support really means a lot. I really appreciate it. I feel like I don't say that enough on here. I often poke fun at my lack of knowledge following the subscription ticker, but I do really appreciate it. It really means a lot. So thanks a lot for that.
It is an absolutely huge achievement, and one that's well deserved considering your commitment to uploading soundtrack content over the years, especially like even some of the more obscure things that even the official Call of Duty people haven't uploaded. So yeah, you more than deserve 9k subs. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And
I feel like there's a bit of a wink, nudge, nudge for the Totem Reich soundtrack in there somewhere.
No, of course not. No. I meant that genuinely. Like, I really do mean that genuinely. For those of you who haven't already, feel free to contribute to the growth of the channel by doing the YouTube stuff of like, sharing, and subscribing, and ringing the bell. And as I've already said, Josh has uploaded a huge library of soundtrack content on the channel, so go check that out. And yeah, other than the huge achievement, Josh, is there any channel updates?
Not particularly. We haven't really been speaking that much recently, have we? So we haven't really had the chance to discuss like stuff we mentioned previously, like the future of what we're going to do with the podcast and that. So it's all still kind of on the back burner. So we'll update you again when we've talked a bit more about that.
Yeah, just to kind of set the record straight here, that's just because life has been busy as to why Josh and I haven't been chatting recently. It's not any kind of YouTube drama or anything like that.
No, absolutely not. No. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like you said, life's just gotten busy, so we haven't really had much of a chance to do much of the content. And that's why it's been a bit delayed this week. So we'll try and get it back on track next with the start of the Black Ops 3 content, but it is what it is for now. Like I say,
it is.
I'll go on.
I was just going to say, we'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, the hashtag eventually.
Just need to get that on a t-shirt. It's just like, we'll get to it eventually.
Yeah. If I do end up making a new banner for the channel at some point, I'm putting it up there.
Soundtrack stuff will come eventually.
Yeah. Alright, so you want to get into the content for this episode then?
Yes, I would. So, in this episode of Undead Ramblings, we're going to do something a little bit different from our usual episodes, as we usually do between map retrospective arcs. And Josh and I are, in this episode, are going to discuss what it is that makes a boss fight. So, as such, this episode isn't really going to have a topic structure that you guys are used to, as it's going to be more of a casual discussion-based episode, and we'll probably go back and forth over a number of things. So, without further ado, you want to dive into it, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. So just let me scroll down here.
No worries.
To be fair, it might be better if you lead with this one because I start my point here by saying I agree largely with what you've said. So
Yeah, no. When I said yeah, no worries. When I said like you ready to dive into, it, I was like, I meant like just into the
right,
episode.
okay, sorry, one of those moments again. I'm getting old.
Taking it too literally.
Like I say, you can tell I'm getting
No
senior
worries.
these days.
No problem. Well, I think it's prudent that Josh and I, first and foremost, give a bit of a definition and an explanation on what we expect from a boss fight and what we mean by what makes a boss fight. So this will be pretext to bear in mind as we go over the rest of the episode. So, I'm guessing based on what you just said, shall I just dive into my point straight away?
Yeah, it'll probably work better that way. I would also like to
Okay.
say before we do get into it that this topic was kind of brought up off the back of the Black Ops 7 boss fights, which I wouldn't say
Black Ops 6 ones.
well 7 more so for me personally, but because I think 6 is a pretty decent for the most part, but I've really not been
Yeah,
big on
yeah.
most of 7s, so that's kind of what kicked this off for me personally. So I just wanted to lay
Yeah,
that down before we get into it. What we wanted to say, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we're really going to go into the roots of where this idea came from, it's probably off the back of the Tomb boss fight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it has been like a lingering problem since that particular fight. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just something we've been wanting to discuss for a while, being as we're kind of old guard gamers at this point, and we've had our fair share of boss fights, haven't we?
I'll admit, I had to wince at the word old.
Yeah. Well, in gamer terms, we are old.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Don't like most professional gamers retire before their 30s.
Probably.
Oh my god. See, this is it. We're not like the Black Ops 7 boss fights aren't bad. Our reactions just aren't good anymore.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's us.
We're the problem. That's it. Episode over. We're the problem.
It's like that Skinner meme from The Simpsons. The children. It's not me who's wrong. It's the children.
Yes, that's the one. Just to say, this isn't gonna be a kind of totally negative episode. This is gonna be more of a kind of constructive conversation as to kind of what Josh and I personally expect from boss fights.
Yeah.
And what we think makes a boss fight for us. So we do also acknowledge that this is our own opinions. So if what we're saying is utter bullshit to you guys, that's fine. But sound off in the comments. Let us know what makes a boss fight for you guys and what you think in comparison to our points. So I'll kick off with mine then. So for me, there are three main criteria that I have for what makes a good boss fight, which I like to call the pie criteria.
I like that we have like a methodology going into this. We have like a setup. Like I can imagine the whiteboards. Is it what's that? What's it from? What's the meme with like the mind map board and he's like?
Oh, it's like The Office or something. No, it's not The Office.
That's where my mind went, but I'm not 100%
yeah.
sure actually.
I can't remember. I don't know. Maybe Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Maybe I don't know.
You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. Like where he's got like pins all on the board.
Yeah.
And he's just like got his hands out, like looking crazy.
Yeah.
So, the pie criteria for me are that a boss for me needs to be present, interactive, and engaging. So pie. So I'll go through what I mean by each of those real quick, and that'll kind of give a gist of what I mean as we carry on with the episode. So when I say a boss needs to be present, I mean that a boss fight actually needs a boss to be there and noticeable. So when you fight or fight the boss, your reaction needs to be, oh yeah, this is a boss fight, or if it's one of those bosses that has a lot of minions, it needs to be obvious who you're focusing on.
Yeah.
Like the boss can't be kind of blending in, and so like that's what I mean. Like a boss actually needs to be there for their own boss fight.
Yeah.
I'll go into a little bit later of kind of like when we cover like some of the bad boss fights of I've kind of already dropped the name here, but like the tomb boss fight, I'll explain later why that's one of those bosses that don't fulfill that criteria.
Yeah.
The next one is interactive, so a boss needs to be doing stuff in the fight and be a real threat that the player has to face. When it's just a boss on its own, it needs to be actually fighting and not constantly running around the arena, not doing anything, like running around the arena doing its own thing, save for the odd AoE attack. An example I've used here is like Augur from Night Rain. I don't think that fits this criteria because it's constantly running around. It's basically you're doing a lot of running simulator at this point.
Yeah, 100%.
And if it's a fight where there are other enemies or minions, then a boss cannot let the underlings do all the work for it. And again, here I bring up the Sentinel artifact boss fight from the tomb. Like, the boss needs to be a part of the fight, and the minions supplement it.
Yes, yeah.
Like a good example of that would be, say, the elephant boss fight from the Zombies map 9.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
And lastly, engaging. The fight as a whole needs to be engaging. It's not just running around the arena, nor fighting off minions while waiting for a boss's weak point to start glowing and be exposed, as the only chance for any damage to be done to it. I.e., or for example, the Takeo boss fight in Zetsubo. And the player constantly needs to be doing something, either fighting the boss or doing something that can progress the fight, if it's more of a gimmick boss fight, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. I think something that Zombies does really well in that regard is, like, during those downtime moments, like having you like fill soul boxes or something like that keeps the the action going during those down periods.
Absolutely. Like any boss fight that kind of kills pace is like does not fit this criteria. Like you've got to be constantly doing something to kind of progress the boss fight. It's got to kind of, you got to feel the kind of the tempo kind of ramping up as the fight progresses.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, obviously, like if you're fighting off if there's like most boss fights have phases, and if you're in a fight where like that has a phase, then you obviously want those kind of brief respite moments to maybe reload or heal up or something like that. That's fine, but it can't just be like, I don't know, like as I said, like waiting for a boss fight's weak points to be exposed.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, there's no real challenge or entertainment value in just chasing an enemy around the arena while it's invincible while you wait for the immune phase to end. It just gets a bit...
Yeah.
It's just a bit boring, really. It kind of takes the wind out of its sails a bit when stuff like that happens.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's my pie criteria. I'll probably be referring back to this a number of times as we go on in the episode. But let's go over what your criteria for boss is.
All right, so I didn't come prepared with a PowerPoint presentation and graphs, unfortunately.
That's just my autistic ADHD ass.
So basically, as I was suggesting before, I'm basically largely agreeing with most of what Aidan said here. Most of those points are things that I think, perfectly fit a good boss fight. So most of mine are kind of similar. I had to stretch it a little bit here to get something that sounded somewhat unique. I feel like you covered most of the main bases with that one. So one thing that I think that any good boss fight should have is a fight that takes players' positioning into account. where you choose to stand can greatly affect how well you do against a specific boss, if that makes sense. Like the example I've used here for like this being exploitable is in fights like the new Totenreich boss fight. For like, you'll notice how I mentioned zombies quite a lot here, specifically Black Ops 7. I want to say this.
Yeah.
I want to lay this down before I get into it. I do think Totenreich is the best fight on Black Ops 7 by far. By a wide margin. I know that you had your problems with it when we did it, but I can tell you this for sure: it is better than the other ones, in my opinion, at least, no doubt. But as I'm sure you saw when we did it, in the last phase, it's possible to basically just go prone and dodge all of the AoE attacks that have come flying at you towards the end, and just crouch in the corner, and the boss basically becomes ineffective. And I think for, at least specifically for, like avoidable attacks, I think it's important that the player shouldn't be able to do that. You know what I mean? I guess you could argue it's an exploit, but I would say it isn't, at least in this case, because you can still take damage. You just don't take as much as you usually would. And I don't think that was the way that it was intended to be dealt with, by just lying in the corner. You're clearly meant to actually dodge the attacks properly.
There's a difference between like exploiting, either like doing an exploit or taking advantage of a situation. But the intent of the what's it called? The intent of the developers isn't obvious. Like, it's not obvious that the developers were intending that.
Yeah, 100%. And one aspect that I would say that runs counter to this, like not taking into account player positioning, is the Astra Malorum boss fight, which is a fight in which no matter where you stand, you are going to be used and abused by the boss, because it will stick behind you 24/7 throughout the entire fight, if you're playing like solo, obviously. I know we haven't done that one, but during like the third phase, it moves incredibly fast, and it is always behind you, and no matter where you stand, you're always just going to be taking like cheap hits. And having like the zero gravity aspect in there as well means that you lose control, player control as well, which as a gimmick I suppose is fine, but it can lead to some really obnoxious moments where you just end up getting pummeled and you can't move anywhere, you just get knocked around. And I find that that's an aspect of the fight that I don't enjoy, and like I say, there's a lot of these in like Black Ops 7, especially in the fight we did, Faitharion. That one was a real pain for positioning, especially if you got knocked out of the car. It was practically over, wasn't it, if you ended up getting pushed out of the car. So I'm going to try and not turn this into a preemptive Black Ops 7 review before we actually get to that. But I'll just lay it out now. The boss fights won't be a positive point, at least for me, in Black Ops 7 overall so far. But we'll see. So, moving on from that then. Alright, so another element that I think makes an appealing boss fight is like when you were talking about before, about how, in certain fights you can have like smaller enemies attacking you as well. I think in certain good boss fights it can be done to good effect. But one of the ones where I think it isn't is games like Hollow Knight Silksong, which I'm sure you'll agree with me 100%, is a way too heavy on the on the enemy spam.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, having swarms of enemies flying all around the screen and just obscuring your view and making it more of a chance-based encounter, based on pure luck, based on where you can actually jump to. Determining whether or not you take damage, I'm not really a big fan of, and it's certainly not something I enjoy in boss fights. I do personally prefer one-on-one encounters, but I think that enemies like this can be used to great effect during like transitional phases, like we talked about earlier. Where like if you need to charge something up in between a phase or something like that. Again, going back to zombies as an example. And finally, this one more specifically is dedicated to zombies. I hate when a game arbitrarily takes away like a player ability or some sort of combat choice during a fight with no forewarning that it's going to do that. So the example I'm using here is score streaks in both Black Ops 6 and 7, where in some fights you will have no idea what the arena is going to look like. So you will take in certain score streaks based on an educated guess, and then find out you can't use Chopper Gunner, or you can't use whatever else it might be.
Yeah.
Granted,
yeah, I get that.
I know it's not a zombie-specific issue, and there are other games out there that do take away your abilities. You know, often more time for more often than not for additional challenge by taking away something that you grow comfortable with, and I don't think that's inherently a bad mechanic.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really a boss fight, but like in Origins, where they take the staffs away from you for the final step, I think it can be done to good effect in certain ways. But those all have, you have to go in and put those things in, like the staffs, to initiate that encounter, so you know what you're getting into. But just taking equipment in and then finding out it doesn't work. You're like, especially in a mode where your entire game is built around, building your loadout for that specific match, just to find out that you can't use an aspect of it in the final encounter, I think is really poor design. Like I said, this is more specifically catered to zombies, this one, but I have seen it done in other games.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if they're gonna take an ability away from you, or a weapon away from you, or something that you're used to having away from you, then there's got to be a narrative, sensible reason as to why that is going.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, for example, like I'm using zombies here, but like the Pentagon Thief, I know it's not a boss, but like the Pentagon Thief round in 5, like where it takes a weapon away from you, it makes sense. Like, because, or I don't know, say like midway through the fight, like your weapon gets destroyed or breaks or something, and so you have to use something else. Like, that makes narrative sense. Like you're not going to use it, and it adds that kind of extra challenge. But when they just take it away from you for absolutely no reason, and like you're just kind of like left wondering, like, why can I not? Like, is there an actual reason why I can't use this ability or use this weapon? And when there's no answer to that, then absolutely, like, that's very poor design right there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I know there is technically an in-game reason as to why you can't use the Chopper Gunner in like the Tomb boss fight. Narratively that wouldn't make sense. So I do understand why it isn't there. Yeah. But until at least in the case of the Tomb, you do go to the arena before you start it. But in more recent games, they've stopped doing that now, and you often get teleported somewhere else at the start of the encounter. So
like one of them is like the giant, not the giant, the Guardian fight in Citadel. Like, we love Citadel, but like that's one of those fights where like you don't know where the fight is actually going to take place. Like, there's no kind of forewarning. And certainly, like, even if you can't, I know to trigger the fight, you actually go up to the statue to activate it, but there's no warning that it's going to take you underground.
Yeah, like, for all intents and purposes, most people probably assumed it would take place right there in the courtyard, because it is a relatively wide open area.
Yeah.
So it would have made sense, but like you say, it just takes you somewhere arbitrary and then says, all those tools you've just spent like the last 10 minutes saving up for, gone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much covers all of mine, unless there's something else you wanted to touch on.
No, as I said, I think we're probably going to go like back and forth on these points and refer back to these as we kind of go on. Right. Especially, like, we're going to have a section later of like the good, the bad, and the memorable for the boss fights. But we'll get to that in a bit, and I think when we go over that, we'll definitely be referring back to our previous points. Before we get to that point, though, we do have 2 other things that we're going to discuss like before then, and that's going to be the arena, and then also the boss themes, because this is a music channel after all. We can't
Yeah.
not discuss the music.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's dive into the first one, which is arenas, because a boss's arena is much a part of what a boss fight is about, or what as much a part as what the boss is about as the fight itself. And I think arenas definitely make up the personality of what a boss fight is. Like you were mentioning about positioning being an important part of what makes a good boss fight for you, and I think the arena really helps or should solidify what the positioning is, because there's some terrible arenas in boss fights, and then there's some incredible arenas in boss fights.
Yes, yeah.
And like I think the first one that kind of comes to mind for a terrible arena is the Capra Demon boss fight in Dark Souls 1.
Oh yes, yes. I will completely agree with this one. For those who haven't seen it, it's basically like a small alleyway, isn't it, with like a staircase that goes to a dead end, and that is literally all you get. And they sprinkle in other enemies as well. So it's quite a handful for new players. I feel like it's put there as a trap.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say is some of the like? So I would say like sometimes, obviously we're referring to a very small arena there, but I'd also say like the opposite is true as well. Like sometimes an arena can be far too big for the boss fight. I feel that with some of the Night Rain boss fights, but also the one that really does spring to mind is again the elephant boss fight in 9. I think that's far too big for just when facing like one elephant at a time. Like, it feels like you should be facing both or like at least 2 elephants at once here.
Yes, absolutely. I would totally agree with that. I would also say the Revelations boss fight room is a bit too big for what goes on there. There is not enough going on in that fight to justify that large room.
Yeah, it's like so much wasted space, really, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, you could argue that the Margwa section prior to that makes up for that, because it is used to greater effect there with all the gimmicks. I think if they'd had the gimmicks playing in as well, I think it would have been much better.
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes when...
Oh, go on.
No, you carry on.
I was going to say giving away Black Ops 3 before we covered it. It's ironic we're talking about this now, actually.
Yeah, I know.
Just on the cusp of Black Ops 3.
Yeah, coming into the game that actually... I mean, to be fair, it might be appropriate, being as we're going to be talking about boss fights quite a bit going forward.
Yeah, true.
I think, like, sometimes when, like, kind of touching on that point of that you just made there, like, sometimes a boss's arena does need to evolve, though, as the fight goes on, and I think that does really work, like, with the, what's it called? Like, the Voyage boss fight. I really like how it's not just, I know it takes place in sections of the map, but the actual fight isn't placed in just one big open area. Or like the Revelations boss fight, the Margwa portion anyway. You've got some like section like walls coming up, blocking routes that you might take. So you have to adjust your strategy in order to kind of combat the arena as well. This is what I mean about this kind of refers to my point of engaging. Like the arena needs to be engaging because you've got to be able to adjust on the fly if something changes in it. If it's just a big empty room that you're just running in circles around all the time, it can get a bit boring.
Yeah. I would say one of the bosses that I think do this really well is, ironically, I've mentioned it before, but the Totenreich boss fight. I like how you have those storms coming in that seal off part of the map, or the final step being completely centered in the middle.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way of like keeping the challenge, you know what I mean, and making it like upping the stakes without making it feel unfair.
Yeah.
And Mephistopheles is another one. that I would give that praise to.
Mm-hmm.
Where like you occasionally get that separation down the middle of the map, and you have to really adapt to running around a really small area, dodging the exact same projectiles you were doing before.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, like you said, the arena can really play a massive part in these kinds of boss fights.
Absolutely, and I think just kind of touching on the kind of Mephistopheles one, and kind of like, you know, carrying on this point of like arenas kind of evolving and changing, and so the players having to adjust and adapt on the fly. I think, like you've mentioned, some very good boss fight arenas that evolve there. Mephistopheles being one of them, but it's ironic. But on the contrast of that, I don't like when it's, for lack of a better word, a permanent change sometimes, especially when it puts the player in constant danger in part of the arena that they have to go through. So like the examples I bring up here is the fight just before the Mephistopheles one, the mammoth fight in what's the map? Is it Beast from Beyond?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the mammoth fight. And for those of you who haven't played that one particularly, is that like during the course of that fight, when you had to fight two of these big aliens, and when you shoot them, they spew out flames on the ground, which on its own is fine. The problem is that those flames are there for the rest of the fight.
Yes.
Now, when you're running around an arena that has it's basically very small. It's a very small arena and a very cluttered arena, and so you've got lots of choke points. And so when you are like creating flames all over the floor, fighting two of these, is it two even on solo?
Yes, I believe so. But it takes significantly less damage.
Yeah, but when you're fighting two of them and you're not really focusing on one, you are getting lots of fire all over the floor that will constantly damage you as you run over it, especially when you go through choke points. Then you throw in all the minions that come in, and that's a very, very toxic and poor example of an arena evolving, where players don't even have a chance to kind of readjust their strategy. Another kind of poor design of an arena evolving is the Bed of Chaos boss fight from Dark Souls.
God, my eyes nearly popped out of my skull when you said
that. Which, again, those of you who haven't played that fight, basically, as you kind of progress through the fight, the floor gives away, and it gives way underneath you, leaving only a very dedicated route that you have to take. But the problem is that the boss's attacks don't change, and so you get these big sweeping arm attacks that when you're walking across this like very precarious point, you can quite easily get knocked off. It's a very, very balked arena change that really wasn't needed. I mean, there's a reason the Bed of Chaos is like the worst boss fight going in Dark Souls 1.
Yeah. I don't recall, maybe you can correct me on this, but does it even like indicate to you when which platforms are going to collapse?
No.
It's like Tomb Raider figured this out in 1996 by having the ground shake when you stood on it.
Yeah.
Just a subtle clue would go a long way in making that more palatable.
I mean, like, I think it's the same kind of flaw that drops out every single time. So if you played the fight a million times, you will kind of muscle memory remember which route to take and where to go. But like for new players, like when I first did that fight and I was running back towards the center, the floor gave away, but the animation of the floor giving way, like I fell quicker than the animation, basically.
Oh god.
So it looked like I was clipping through the floor, and I was like, what did I do wrong? And only when I came back into the fight and saw that section of floor had actually given away, I was like, oh, that's how I died. Well, that's bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those trial by fire things, isn't it? Where you just have to bat your head against the wall until eventually you figure out which ones collapse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think like I'm trying to think of like some not Silk Song, some Silk Song or Hollow Knight boss fights that do arena changes quite well. And none are coming to my memory, which is yeah.
Oh, that's a spicy take.
It's been a while since I played those games, so they're not fresh in the old noggin.
One that I did quite enjoy was the Radiance, the final one.
Yes.
That one I thought did arena changes pretty solidly, where it has those things come up through the ground and you have to kind of like jump over them and dash through them.
Yeah.
Again, it all comes back to like the positioning aspect I was talking about earlier. Speaking of which, actually, I did think of a new thing to build onto on the previous section, and that was bosses that adapt. So the one I'm thinking of in this situation is Mr. Freeze from the Arkham games.
Oh yeah.
The more you attack him, he will not allow you to do that attack a second time. And it's not. It's a feature that is seriously underutilized. I don't know why it doesn't come up more.
Yeah.
It was such a groundbreakingly good idea, and it never came back for some inexplicable reason.
yeah, no, I agree with you there. Like that, honestly, like so many more bosses need to kind of adapt. Like it would really up the ante and kind of like change how the fight progresses, and like arguably, like no two fights should be the same as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I think it would be such like if you were to play, I don't know, Night Rain or something and fight like Augur, and then you do a certain move or something, and the next time it just doesn't work, or it counters it in some way. It would, like I say, it would give it such a breath of fresh air to know that you can't just reliably do the Mortal Kombat spam technique of just hitting the same moves over and over again until it dies.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I also like kind of bosses that kind of evolve with the arenas as well.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, to be fair, like this is, you could argue that they're kind of separate boss fights, but I'm thinking the thing that's kind of coming to mind is the Nemesis boss fights. Like you're fighting one boss basically throughout the whole game, but each arena is different, and the boss kind of brings something new and adapts to each of those arenas. So like the first instance, you're basically just fighting him in the streets, which arguably is not really a fight, proper boss fight, but like that's kind of like your first kind of instance of facing him. And I'm kind of preaching to the choir to you here, Josh. You know this off the back of your like the back of your hand. But like for those of you who haven't done that one, like the next fight you have with him, like only like minutes later, you're basically fighting him out on top of a burning skyscraper, and he's got a flamethrower on him, which is like this boss is actually got a completely different moveset to the last one. That's it. Like I also like that's another good example here. I know you haven't played Sekiro, Josh. But there's a boss basically for those of you who have played Sekiro, you'll know what I mean when I say this is the boss that makes players.
Just before you continue, is this a monkey one by any chance?
No.
It's not the one that plays dead.
No, it's not that one at all. No. I'm talking about the he's a very early boss. Is it Genitrio? I can't remember what he's called.
I wish I could help.
He's basically the boss that makes players just when you hear the term "it clicks." This is the boss that makes players click with Sekiro.
Yeah.
Genichiro. There we go, Genichiro.
Right.
So basically, in his first boss fight, it starts out as a kind of standard samurai kind of versus samurai boss fight, and Sekiro is built around kind of the parry mechanic. And this boss fight teaches you how to parry and when to take your time to, or when to, like, you parry, and it becomes a bit of like a rhythm game where you're parrying and then you choose your moments to strike and then you kind of parry and so on and so forth. It's kind of like how that goes. But then, and that's kind of what this boss kind of teaches you in its first phase. But then come its final phase, he does something completely different. He gets basically ubercharged and starts like throwing lightning bolts at you, and you have to learn a new mechanic in order to counter him, as well as kind of fighting him the standard way. And so the boss is kind of evolved in the fight and is teaching you new mechanics. I really like that with bosses.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, especially like you say, when they catch you off guard, you think you've cinched it, and you're right at the end, and then all of a sudden it just like it's almost like the new health bar reveal. You're like, oh, what is this? What's happening? And there's all of a sudden all this other stuff you have to worry about, and you're like, damn, I thought I had it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
it's kind of like.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say it's kind of like Healster in Night Rain, where you think you've done it, and then you're like, damn, and then this entire new moveset comes out. But it doesn't change it too much. Kind of like you said with that boss, it builds on what you already did in the previous fight. So it's not like you're completely fish out of water, but it's enough to give you a good challenge.
Absolutely, and there's some bosses out there that are like just pull things out of their hat, and it's so cheap, and you're like, how on earth am I meant to counter that or dodge that or do anything against that? But I think like bosses that do kind of build off of kind of previous experience and then sprinkle in just something just new enough to kind of make you kind of pause and readjust your strategy. But still fair enough that you can kind of keep up with the boss and learn that new mechanic quite quickly, I think is a very good and healthy kind of part of the boss fight.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I say, I think the important aspect of that some of them maybe don't get right as much is, as you say, like, it needs to build on what was previously there as well, instead of just completely introducing a completely new mechanic that doesn't play into the old moveset at all. As long as it's incorporated in, I think it works.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned about the Radiance boss fight earlier, and I know it's not a boss fight, but to some extent I'm also going to throw into here in Hollow Knight the gauntlet that you can go through, the gauntlets that you can go through in the
yes.
But yeah, you know what I mean. Basically, it's for those of you who haven't played Hollow Knight, there's a section in the game where you just basically are just fighting enemies constantly, but the arena kind of changes and evolves as that kind of wave rush goes on. So again, you're constantly having to readjust your strategy and things like that. And one thing I like about both of those is that they utilize the skills that the players have learned along the way, like with the Radiance boss fight, where you can use your shadow dash to go through like certain beam attacks, or with the arena fight, you can use your wings to kind of flap to another platform. I really like that about boss fights and like bosses themselves, but also the arenas where they kind of utilize everything you've learned up to that point.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, another example as well is I can't remember what his name is, but it was the boss that was it the one you really liked, the one in like the Soul Sanctum at the top, the way he falls through like the ceiling,
yes,
and it takes you to that new arena. That was a really cool change. Like you say, when you think you've done it, And it throws the curveball at the last minute. It's like, oh no, there's a tiny bit more. It's such a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially there's going to be some Elden Ring boss fights, Josh, that are like real doozies where you think you've done it, and then
Oh god.
an epic cutscene plays, and you're like, oh god, the nightmare's continuing.
Well, there's me shriveling back into my shell after saying that.
Are there any kind of like standout arenas for you?
Oh, that's a tough one. When it comes to arenas, it's not so much the arenas that I think of. It's just more the bosses themselves. So I do draw kind of a blank on the actual arenas.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some I like, and like I enjoy like the Mephistopheles arena and stuff like that. But overall standouts is a bit of a tough one. Have you got any? And I'll try and think of some.
I'm trying to think of because obviously there's some Elden Ring ones that I have in mind that I don't want to spoil for you, so I've got to kind of rein that in a bit.
I do like the Night Rain arena, but it's more the aesthetic style of it than how it functions.
I like the Night Rain arena with some bosses more than others because it's, again, for those of you who haven't played Night Rain, it's basically the same arena for every night boss, but each boss utilizes the arena in different ways. Night Rain is very much more focused on the boss itself. Very few enemies actually utilize the arena as a whole. And I think for some bosses like Calico, the arena works really well because that's like one of the best dragon fights going. Whereas something like Libra, it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, I think Fulgur is another good example of one that uses the entire arena in a way that feels meaningful because it's got that attack that crosses the entire arena really rapidly. So you're not safe anywhere. Even if you run to the other side of the map, you're not safe, which I think is an important factor to have. But some of them just take their time dragging their way over, like Augur, where it can take ages for them to move all the way from one side to the other.
Yeah, it just turns into running simulator at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, just kind of thinking of zombies here, like some of the arenas that I really like. The Ancient Evil one.
Oh yes, that is a cool
with
one.
Perseus.
Yeah.
Again, that's one of those arenas that evolves, and you kind of have to change your strategy on the fly. Like you got to think about which islands you kind of go to first and things like that. But I think that like the just kind of spectacle of kind of it being on Mount Olympus and you're fighting like gods themselves, basically.
Yeah.
I also really like the. I mean, can I call? I don't know. Yeah, like the Mao de Totem boss fight. You can't really say that has an arena, can you?
It's more just like it teleports you around like areas of the map, doesn't it? More than a proper dedicated.
It's the same. Yeah, it's like the same with the what's it called, the Voyage boss fight. I know I kind of praised that earlier, but again, like you can't really say that has an arena.
Yeah, I would say one that's a bad example of an arena. I would say is the Forsaken one. There is way too much space in that fight.
Yeah,
he does not
absolutely.
utilize half of that arena during that fight. It's totally pointless having that much space.
Yep, totally agree. I like the Reckoning arena. I think that's quite cool.
Oh yeah, on the roof.
I mean, it's pretty plain, but like the way that you kind of that's one of those ones where positioning matters.
Yeah, I do like the Totenreich one. I'll give it that.
Yeah. Those are just a couple of, I mean, as we go on, some more will probably kind of pop up and spring to mind. But let's move on from arenas and let's discuss the boss themes, because, as I said, music's something that you and I have been passionate about, for a very long time, despite me not ever being able to play an instrument.
Ah.
But it's something we love discussing, and I personally love talking about music, even if I don't know how to read or play it. So
Yeah.
as such, music is a very important aspect of any boss fight for us, and the theme that goes with the boss. It's one of the first things that I listen out for whenever I go into a boss fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should probably start off strong, and I'm going to drop Libra's boss theme in here.
I thought that one was going to come up. That's the one
Oh,
that
yeah.
immediately went to my mind.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those ones that really, like, I think, like you say, an important aspect of it is it has to thematically fit with the boss you're fighting, and that one really does. It suits the boss so well.
Yeah, it's one of those like themes that like as you're fighting Libra, which is like this boss that kind of is focused around madness and chaos. The theme is so chaotic, and it gets the adrenaline kind of pumping. It's almost like that kind of your fight or flight kicks in. As you listen to it, and it's like there's some moments in it as when it really swells, and you're like, oh my god, like what is going on? And then at the same time, like as the music swells, like the boss is doing a move that kind of fits with it. You're like, this is absolute cinema.
Yes, absolutely. Like I often think of I might be able to play them in the background while we're talking about them, depending on how much of that we'll get away with. But like you say, like those specific, like those fast parts, when he's doing those jumps after you break his shield, it just fits so well.
Yeah,
Like I say, I think that is the most important aspect, is that it has to fit with what's happening on screen. Like, I think it's possible to have, like, I personally prefer upbeat's maybe the wrong word, but music that has presence during boss fights, because I feel like there's a lot of boss fights out there where it'll start and the music will be kind of going off in the background, but you just don't notice it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It kind of sinks into the background, and I really like it when it cuts through everything that's happening in the fight and you can hear it clearly, and it really gets you, pumped. It's something that I would say the Doom series does really well with its bosses.
Yeah.
Where the music like really kicks in on those games when you're fighting bosses. Apart from the last one on Doom Eternal, I will say that one lacked a little bit, but the other ones were really solid. The one that I do go to for that is how you said before on Resident Evil about how like the Nemesis fight on the construction site rooftop. The music on that is so good. I really love the soundtrack for the boss fights on that game.
Yeah, like I've been listening to the Resident Evil soundtracks. I'm making sure I'm staying up to the game, or going up to the game that I'm currently on. And I didn't really notice the boss themes in 2 as much. Like they just seem like just standard like not ambient background noise, but like just, I don't know, standard action music, I guess. Like there was no personality really that I noticed, and it was only really as I listened to the final what's it called, Mr. X fight, that I was like, actually that has quite a bit of personality to it, but like it's so unnoticeable in the game that it's a real shame.
Yeah, I would agree.
And it was only when I went to play Resident Evil 3 that I was really impressed by the music that played in each of the Nemesis boss fights, and I was like, hell yeah, this is actually what a boss fight theme should be.
Exactly. Like I really like how with 3 they kind of embraced that like slightly more action approach, a bit more like the original did. So the soundtrack plays into that, and like say the boss themes are a lot more upbeat and have a lot more punch to them, which I think really makes a great boss theme, especially in like a situation like that where it's kind of put the horror to the side and it's like just have fun. You know what I mean? Just enjoy the
Yeah.
fight. And I think it
One
really
of my-
works in that sense.
One of my absolute I remember more like in Hollow Knight. I remember more of the themes, like the music themes, than I actually do some of the boss fights themselves or such. But one of the themes I love, like there's two themes I really like in that stick out quite well, three actually. That stick out the most for me is the first is the what's it called, the night. It's from the DLC. The what's it called?
Oh,
The vampire
first
like
one.
one.
The Grim Troop.
Yes, that's the one. The Grim Troop, where you're fighting
Yes.
Grim. I know like Nightmare King Grim is great, but I love the first fight theme the most.
Oh yeah,
Like,
the rock theme.
Exactly. Like Hollow Knight does not use guitars or electric guitars at all in the game. But it
Yeah.
fits so well with this, with the Grim Troop theme.
Yeah.
And
I do want to
Grim's
agree with this,
first
but
phase.
I have not played or fought Grim yet on my
Oh,
playthrough,
dude,
so
you're
I
missing
can't
out.
I
I
can't
mean, it's-
speak to its effectiveness, but I do know the theme. I have listened to the theme a few times.
It's a hard fight. It's a really hard fight. But it's one of those fights again that utilizes your skills and your positioning, and like I feel like Hollow Knight 1, just kind of we're backtracking here. Hollow Knight 1 really got positioning down to a T.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Another one that I've noticed the first time I fought them was the Mantis boss fight.
As soon as you said the other one, I noticed. I had a feeling you were going to Mantis Lords. That one is so good as well.
It really is, and it's just like it's what's it called? That kind of piano that like that's kind of French. It's a harpsichord, isn't it? I think it's a
might be.
harpsichord. Yeah, the harpsichord notes that play as soon as the fight starts, and then as it builds, it really is so well done. And
yeah.
it was one of the things I noticed first about that fight, and it was like I got to listen to this independently here. Like I died.
Yeah.
First time, and I was like, hang on a minute, like I need to listen to this, and I loved it.
I think that's just a testament to how important good music is in boss fights, because if you love the music that's playing while you're doing it, you're not going to get as annoyed by having to redo it, because you get to listen to it again and again and again.
For real, absolutely.
I think,
and then another.
I was just gonna briefly say, I think that's somewhere where Silk Song for me kind of lacks. I think the exploration themes in Silk Song are really, really good, and that's where that game shines. But I didn't like the boss themes as much.
Yeah.
I would say the Lace's boss theme I thought was really quite good.
Yeah, that was again one of those ones that I noticed first time when I played that was Lace's one.
Yeah.
And then the other boss fight that I really like in Hollow Knight is again from the DLC, but it's the Hive Knight boss theme.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I like basically this fight is you're fighting a bee basically, but it has that kind of those running up and down kind of like notes that you associate with like whenever you see like bees and such, like that.
Yeah.
I'm doing a terrible job there, but I told you guys I'm not music. I don't know how to read or play music, like mimic it clearly, but I don't know how to describe it, which is really frustrating.
I get exactly.
It's basically
where
the
you're
runnings up and down. And that's one of
Yeah.
those ones that really kind of stand out for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One that I really liked. God, this is just turning into a Hollow Knight glazing session, but I don't care.
The music's so good in Hollow Knight that it deserves it, though.
It really is. Like, what's the I can't remember his name. The dung beetle one.
Oh, the Dung Defender.
That's the one. Yes, that one's so good as well.
I describe that one as quite rambunctious because it's so kind of upbeat and kind of heroic sounding, and like you've got the beats that kind of like those heroic beats in it that kind of make this guy like you're basically fighting a guy that like
He's literally
But, like,
hitting you with shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But
To,
it's
like, the most
so good.
and you're fighting him to like the most heroic sounding music in the game.
Exactly, yeah. And then the sound effects he makes to go with it as well are like really
Oh,
top
for
notch.
real. Yeah, yeah.
And like you said, like the Soul Sanctum boss as well, the way like the music swells when he
Yeah.
comes out the background, it is so well done. Honestly,
It really
Christopher
is.
Larkin is a musical genius.
He really is. I really love in like I love the boss fight theme, the Soul Sanctum theme, boss fight theme, independently for the exact reason that you just said. But I love in
Yeah.
the actual kind of soundtrack. It fits so seamlessly in with the rest of the kind of organ
Yeah.
background track for the whole Soul Sanctum, and then at the end you get this kind of, it ramps it up to this the boss theme.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like I always thought for a little while I thought it wasn't in the soundtrack because it is tagged at the end of that song. So I was like, oh, that's a shame. I don't know why they cut that boss theme. But then I was like, oh wait, it is in there.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I just kind of switching gear here. I also like boss themes that aren't always like action focused and that actually kind of shift gears and kind of make it bit more somber, or kind of more gentle.
Yeah.
And again, like as long as it fits in with the kind of overall theme of the boss fight as well, though, because like the music has to fit in with the boss, like you said about Libra. It has to fit in with the boss and the theme of what that boss represents. And I'm gonna kind of skirt spoiler territory here because in Elden Ring, there's a couple of boss themes in that are definitely a lot more somber or gentle. You've already heard one of them, which is the ancestor spirit one.
Oh yes, yeah.
The deer that hops around and such.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, while it's annoying to fight in Night Rain, in the actual boss fight in Elden Ring, it's a really kind of majestic fight, and the music, like, for that fight suits it so well. Because it is really gentle and kind of, for lack of a better word, it's very. When I say quiet, I don't mean like the music is quiet, like you can't hear it. I mean like it's not trying to be this big, out there kind of rambunctious boss fight music that like most boss fights are. But this one's actually quite quiet, quite gentle. You're realizing you're fighting something that is not necessarily an enemy, but like not necessarily and not evil or not dangerous. I'm stumbling over my words here, but what I'm saying is
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and because of how majestic it is, you're like, actually this fits the theme really well. And there's a couple of bosses in main game Elden Ring that have more gentle themes.
I think a good one that we both know is Kaliga in Night Rain. I think that is another one that's very strong in that regard.
Yes.
It's not like an upbeat song that makes you want to perform in the fight. It's kind of just depressing, if that makes sense. It's such a good piece of music to go with it, and like you say, it wouldn't work with anything else. I don't think everything's perfectly tuned for what you're doing.
Absolutely, and I just want to kind of touch on that word that you used, like depressing. Like, like with Caligo, like the lore around it is like that. This is like an ancient observer of, and it's basically a font of knowledge that you're fighting, and you almost feel like the music, and then combined with the lore, almost makes you feel bad for having to fight this ancient dragon. and kind of defeat it basically.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It doesn't feel good fighting it, and I think that's the intention. It's not supposed to feel rewarding. Like I say, I do prefer boss themes, like we said, like Nemesis is one that we talked about earlier, where it's very upbeat and punchy and gets you in the mood. But I think like the context for the fight, I think is extremely important, and I wouldn't put music like that in other encounters where it just clearly wouldn't work. You know what I mean? I understand why there is such a different take depending on what it is that you're fighting. So I appreciate that we've had, like, you know, all these different boss fights over the years that have all these different takes and different types of music alongside them. I think it's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the ones that's kind of coming to mind on that is definitely on the more quieter or somber or not as action heavy side is the Shadow Man boss fight from Shadows. I don't know whether or not that fits or not. Like, it's a good theme, but I don't know if like if it does like kind of fits the overall kind of quote unquote boss fight, if you can even call that a boss fight.
I would say for the Shadow Man specifically, probably not. I do think that one feels a bit out of place. It's a nice theme, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like you said, given the context of the map up to that point and the fact that the Shadow Man there's nothing really angelic about him or anything like that like the music kind of implies, so it just feels a bit weird. You know what I mean? Like he's got no good intentions whatsoever, so I don't know why they chose that, because it is like they're kind of like a very heavenly kind of sound to it. Yeah, I would agree with you. I don't think that one particularly fits very well, which is but it is their first fight, so I do give them a bit of a leeway. They clearly just reused music from campaign for that one. So
for real, yeah.
Fair's fair, I guess, but I think there could have been.
Like...
Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say that it almost feels like the Apocalypse Averted theme should have been like his boss fight music rather than I know he called it Revenge on your channel, but I think it's called Ego Vivo or something like that from campaign.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Here's me changing all the song names.
Why not? Yeah. I think like some boss fight themes can be very forgettable or just kind of nothing burgers. Like I don't. It wasn't really until the Mao de Totem boss fight that any of the ones from Cold War really stood out to me.
I would say, on the topic of boss fight themes at least, Wrath is a really good boss theme.
Is that the Valentina one from
Yes.
Mao?
Yeah. That one I think really fits the fight very well.
Yeah.
The fight itself is okay. I don't really remember too much about it, to be honest, but I just remember the music was really good.
Yeah, I mean, the fight itself is probably the best one in the game, to be honest.
Yeah. But
I just want to...
It is in a sea of mediocre boss fights, so it's...
It's very true. It's not a big comparison, is it? I mean, I do just want to say, like, a huge kind of like shout out to what's her name? That they got doing the boss fight themes for Black Ops 6 and
Tori Letzler.
That's the one, Tori Letzler. Like, she is absolutely smashing these boss fight themes out.
Oh yeah, from like the Totenreich one now, like all the ones on Black Ops 7 I think have been great. Astra Malorum was great as well. I really liked the Paradox Junction one as well, even though the map itself wasn't all there, but the boss fight theme was really solid. They've all been really good.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with you right there.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate her work. I'm glad she kept doing it after Remember Forever, which feels so long ago now.
Yeah, and like, I mean, like she sung that one, didn't she?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, she's a great singer, but like, her making of the boss fight music has been absolutely top notch in Black Ops 6 and 7. Like the Rick Topham fight, like I was the nicest one from Reckoning. The way it uses those kind of the ether theme or Rick Topham's themes motifs from from the series, it was so good. I love that theme so much.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, like I am so glad she stayed on after Black Ops 3 because the stuff she's been putting out since has been top notch. Really glad she's on the same team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are so many boss fights, there's so many themes, and like and so many things to talk about.
Oh yeah.
We're not going to cover everything in one sitting here, but yeah, it's needless to say. Like I think music, as much as the arena, definitely helps make the boss fight for what it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like it can even elevate boss fights that maybe aren't so good and make them feel a bit more intense. Like I think the Sentinel Artifact theme is one that's pretty solid, even though I don't enjoy the fight itself.
Yeah.
But I think the music does a lot of heavy lifting in that regard.
Yeah, again, that's one of those more kind of quieter themes, isn't it? It's not one of those big action set pieces.
Yeah, it's more like an ambient theme. But I do like one thing that they've started doing now, which I do really like, is having the music change. It like has multiple phases where it gets more intense the further you get into the fight. I think there's like always like 3, isn't there, with the more recent ones? So that's really cool. I've always been a fan of music that dynamically changes depending on the situation. There's few things better to me than having music that can go from being the backing track in the ambient backing track into upbeat action music when you're in the middle of an encounter. It's so good.
Yeah, you'll definitely like a few of the Elden Ring boss fight themes, because some of those have like real kind of changes to them as the fight progresses and as different phases start.
I live for that sort of thing. It's great.
You've already experienced some of it in Night Rain. With the main bosses. But main game Elden Ring, you're in for a treat if that's something you like.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing it. I'll have to get my hands on some of these Dark Souls soundtracks and all that.
Yeah. Alright, so let's move on to the good, the bad, and the memorable. And this is probably where we're going to be referring quite a few times to our definitions. But also where we're going to be discussing like some of the more mechanics of certain boss fights and what we think are good boss fights, what we think are bad boss fights, and regardless of whether they're good or not, what we think are some of the more memorable boss fights, like what makes a boss fight memorable. So let's discuss give me some of the bosses that you think are good, Josh, and why.
So, as you said, we're probably going to be dipping back into some of the ones we talked about earlier. So, I would like to throw in Mr. Freeze into good boss fights. Yep. I feel like that is an obvious choice for a lot of people who played it. Just like I said, just going back to what we talked about before, the way like it can change and react to your like input on the fly. On the fly. Sorry. That was one of those mistakes I couldn't just ignore. I did try, but I just couldn't. Yeah, so I like the fact that it's a feature that is still, even today, like we said, pretty unique. It's something that is still not done a whole lot, and I think it should be, because it keeps you from just exploiting the same tricks over and over again, which I think is the, what's the term? The weakness for something, like a design weakness.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
For a lot of, like a crutch for a lot of other bosses, where, you can just use the same maneuvers over and over again until eventually it drops and chip away at the health bar. I don't think that's particularly enjoyable. I wish we had a bit more variety, and I think Mr. Freeze offers that, so that's why I would put it where it is. Is there anything you want to add before, and like maybe we could go back and forth?
I think like you've hit the nail on the head there. Like the Mr. Freeze boss fight is like, while it's not one of those kind of like a lot. I mean, this goes for a lot of the Batman Arkham bosses. Like they're not those kind of boss fights that you necessarily are out in the middle of an arena where you're fighting a guy hand to hand. Like, yeah, there are some of those.
Yeah.
But the Mr. Freeze one of the things I really like about it is that you actually have to utilize the environment around you to fight him. You cannot face him head on.
Yeah.
He kind of falls into the realm of gimmick fight, but I think when a gimmick fight is done properly, like the Mr. Freeze one, where it plays to kind of the theme of what Batman is about, and him kind of working in the shadows and not facing things head on. I think that's one of those fights that really, really works well, and it's probably one of the best fights in the whole Arkham series.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you on that. It's such a good, memorable fight.
Yeah, I mean, like, contrast that with the Joker fight from the Joker Titan fight from the first game. I do not like that fight.
Yeah,
that is one of those fights that when I just to kind of refer to my pie mechanic here, my pie criteria. That is not a engaging boss fight, because you are literally waiting for like running around the arena and waiting for the boss's weak points to be exposed.
Yeah, like when I think of the fight, I don't really remember much of actually fighting him. I remember him standing up on the corner just cheering away at the helicopter. I don't remember him actually fighting me at all. I always just remember fighting the goons and nobody else. So
yeah, absolutely.
Would you say that falls into bad?
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of fails in one of my criteria, where you just, as you said, you're fighting goons and waiting for the bosses. It's not engaging.
Yeah.
It's definitely not an engaging fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, I don't mind when a boss fight is a bit more slow paced, but it's still engaged, like the Mr. Freeze fight, but it's still engaging because the player is still doing something to kind of think about how they approach the fight and how they deal damage to the boss. Like with Mr. Freeze, you're kind of like you're hanging from the rafters and waiting to drop down on him. But Mr. Freeze suddenly, like, you do damage there, great. Mr. Freeze now destroys all of the points where you can attack from above. So you have to think to yourself, okay, what now?
Yeah.
Let's hide under a grate. And so it's a bit more slow paced, but you are the player is constantly thinking and adjusting their strategy. And I think that's kind of one of my main things, is that, like, the adjustment of strategy and how you approach a boss fight is what makes it engaging.
Yeah, absolutely. I would totally agree with that. Adding another one to the bad boss fight bin, I would put Richthofen's boss fight in Reckoning in there. And it's because of one's, like, I know that isn't the most popular opinion. There are people out there who do enjoy this fight. The problem for me isn't the difficulty so much. It's because, I know you haven't done it, but there's like two phases to it. There's the one where he has the jetpack, which is the second one, but the first one he's got one of those cloud suits on, and this drags ass. It literally takes about 10 minutes to whittle his health bar down in that form, and then as soon as he is free of that form and goes to the second one, he turns into a complete glass cannon. Well, I wouldn't even call him a glass cannon, because he still takes tons of damage. He's still a sponge. But now he can practically one-shot you, so you whittle away 10 minutes of your time on this bigger version of him to die in 10 seconds afterwards, and I think that is just poor design all around. I have not tried it again after the first three or four times I tried it when the map came out, and I don't see that changing. I just do not think it's well designed at all. I did not enjoy it.
Yeah, I can't really speak on that fight because, as I said, I've not done that one, or as you said, I've not done that
Mm.
one. So I can't really speak on that fight. But just kind of touching on that point, I think any boss that falls onto like, or that is just an absolute damage or bullet sponge or damage sponge, immediately loses points. Not necessarily making them bad, but they do lose points for that. And I
Yeah.
think that's my criticism for the bosses in Black Ops 7 is that they're just bullet sponges.
Yeah.
A lot of
I've
them.
heard.
Which
Hold on.
I was just gonna say, which like it just kills the pace for me.
Yeah.
Like anything that kills the pace, like bullet sponges or damage sponges, it immediately, as I said, immediately loses points.
It goes, in my opinion, a lot of the Black Ops 7 fights, as well as some of the later Black Ops 6 ones, kind of go the other way for Glass Cannon. They take forever to kill, and you also do negligible damage.
Yeah.
And they can almost tank you in like 2-3 hits, and that to me just feels again poorly designed. I do think Totenreich's is an improvement on that. I think at least not in the bullet sponge department, he's still a massive bullet sponge, but like in at least the attacks he didn't feel like they were cheap. It felt like you actually had a fighting chance against him. It was just going to take a while, and it does take a while. But I think like you say, I could put all of the Black Ops 7 and 6 boss fight or later Black Ops 6 fights in bad boss fights off the back of the health alone. But I feel like that would be like a bit unfair to them, so I'm not going to do that.
I mean, I know you like the Totenreich boss fight, and I will concede that it's definitely. I mean, I haven't done the Astra Malorum or the Paradox Junction one, but I know how bad they are, and based on my experience of Ashes as well, and I know that the Totenreich boss fight is definitely an improvement. I still think it kind of, and don't get me wrong, it's a vast improvement. I still think compared to what we've had before, it kind of skirts the border of good and bad, maybe leaning more towards bad because I don't find it very engaging to basically just shoot tons and tons and tons of bullets into a boss.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I would say I would still put the Totenreich fight, even though I do enjoy it and I love the spectacle of it, and like the ideas are really cool, and they could easily be fixed, like you say, if they just brought down the health bar. But like, I would sooner prefer to play Patient 13 or the Guardian over any of the Black Ops 7 ones, even with Totenreich being factored in there now. I just don't think spongy bosses are particularly fun in any game.
Yeah.
And
don't get me wrong, like, no, I'll let you finish your point.
I was just going to say I would lean into, say, Sentient Pest from Elden Ring Night Rain as being a contributor to this problem. This is a fight I really don't enjoy either, for this very similar reason. It just sponges all your damage, and it's more a test of endurance and how much patience you have to stop, to avoid making mistakes because you're getting bored of just chimping away at it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean with when I say engaging. Like, like if I'm getting bored, then like that's an issue.
Yeah.
Like that means the boss fight is not engaging.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, I don't mind a boss fight that is long.
Yeah.
And that takes a while to get through, as long as it's engaging and interactive and the boss is present. Like, for example, like the most of the boss fights in Night Rain are like over 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
But some of them are definitely more engaging and interactive than others. The Libra fight is very engaging. The boss is present because it's in your face all the time.
Yeah.
And he is interactive as well. Like you're not. He is constantly on the attack.
Yeah.
Whereas something that isn't, like I've mentioned it before, the Augur boss fight is not very interactive at all. Like the Augur one literally just floats around and you are running around it like running around after it constantly,
Yes,
waiting
yeah.
it for it to kind of float down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the sentient pest one is also guilty of this, because it's not just not very engaging because of how much of a damage sponge it is, but it's not very interactive either, because when the scorpion or the beetle or whatever you want to call it either goes onto the ground or does its like little protective shell, you're having to run around after the moth.
Yeah, exactly.
I much prefer the second phase of that fight, because the moth actually latches on to the beetle.
Yes, I agree. And I think another massive problem with sentient pest is the fact that there's all, at least for the scorpion, or again whatever you want to call it, the arachnid. There is no like player feedback whatsoever. You chip away at it and it does not react. There's no stun. There's no flinch. There's nothing. It feels like you're hitting a wall.
Yeah.
It's just not engaging, like you say.
No, not at all. A polar opposite though of a boss, or the polar opposite of Augur though, is what we mentioned before, is Calico.
Yeah.
Now, in the Souls games, dragon fights are hugely unpopular for the most part.
Yes, I've heard.
But Calico utilizes the arena to perform its like sweeping attacks wonderfully, and yet you're not running after the boss the whole time. Like, it's still interacting with you and firing like breath from afar, and so you're still having to think about your positioning, your strategy, and how you approach just to get to the boss. Whereas with Augur, you're literally just like you're kiting it. Oh, it is kiting you, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Now you know how zombies feel when you're training them around.
Yeah, exactly. It's ironic, isn't it? And I think the Calico fight is very engaging, because you are making those strategies, but the boss is also interactive because it's utilizing its size. It's utilizing its size in the arena, or the arena is utilizing the dragon's size.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I would say another boss fight that I would put in good is Mephistopheles from Infinite Warfare. I think that one is...
Despite us never beating him.
But that's the thing. I think that speaks to how effective it is as a boss. That I could still put it there, despite the fact that it's kicked my ass like 50 times. And I still don't hate it as a boss. Because I just don't think it's bad. I genuinely think it's got like all the points you talked about. Like, you know, he's present. He's got all those things. You constantly have to be invested all the time. He is a bit spongy, but like you said about certain bosses before, it doesn't feel like it, because you're so engaged in what you're doing, in avoiding his attacks and avoiding the zombies and all that, that you're constantly in the zone trying to fight him, you know what I mean? And I think it nails that aspect really, really well. What were you going to say, sorry?
Absolutely, and he's not one of those bosses that you're kind of wait. I mean, I know he does have weak points that appear, and you have to use something like you have to use your piece of equipment to damage him, but you are still doing other things to work towards that point. As well.
Exactly.
It's not like, as I said, the Takeo boss fight in Zetsubo, where you're literally running around an arena waiting for the weak point to appear while dodging enemies. Like, you're not you just, it's mind numbing. Whereas with the Mephistopheles one, you're kind of working towards like him, kind of, you're making sure your survival is paramount. And the boss fight, like the minions are supplementing the boss as well as his own attacks. And you're kind of focusing, sometimes arguably too much, on your own survival rather than the boss. But when the boss is ready for you to damage him, it's that point where you're like, right, time to lock in, have at it.
Yeah, absolutely. The one part of the fight I would say where it falls apart is the last phase. I think this kind of almost ruins it, where it just spams you with like other mini bosses on the platform. I think that part of the fight does suck. I think that part is all around bad, and it plays into a problem from Beast from Beyond as a whole, where it just spams bosses. But for like literally 95% of the fight, it's completely enjoyable. You know what I mean? You're constantly in the zone, and constantly engaged.
I would argue that is more of an arena fault rather than a mechanic fault, because the arena is too small for the mini bosses, and they're not even mini bosses, they are bosses from previous maps. Let's be real here. You got the Slasher, you got the Mammoth. Like the arena is too small to cope with those bosses plus the zombies plus Mephistopheles attacks. Now, if we were talking an arena the size of the Forsaken or the elephant boss fight from 9, that might be a bit more palatable. But I think the arena is definitely what makes the bosses or the mini bosses in the Mephistopheles fight more egregious than what they should be.
I do agree with that, but I do also think that if the space was any bigger, I think Mephistopheles would be like totally watered down. If like the meteor attacks he does were like hitting like a huge arena, like you say, like the Forsaken size arena, I don't think it would have as much impact. You wouldn't be as, afraid of these attacks coming in as you are in the current version. I think it would just be better if they just got rid of the mini boss gauntlet at the end altogether and just had zombies again.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was getting to, is like that's the kind of like an arena like a larger arena would make those bosses more palatable if they had to be in there, but it's more preferable to take them out and focus more on the main boss.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we've shunted a few of these into bad, so I'm trying to think of what ones to put into good.
Let me get my biggest bad out of the way here, and that is the tomb boss fight from from the tomb. the Sentinel artifact boss fight from the tomb. Now, for those of you who've listened to Undead Ramblings before, we'll have covered this quite in depth in the Tomb episode, so I do apologise that there might be some repetition here. But the Sentinel artifact meets none of my criteria.
No.
For one thing, present. It's an artifact. It's not a boss. It's I don't know what you want me to say. Like,
but it fires
there is no boss.
Laser beams.
That makes it an environmental hazard.
Yeah, I agree.
I would argue that the what's it called? The Tagtototem Tagtototem's final step is not a boss fight. It is a holdout or there's no boss to fight. So that does. But don't get me wrong, because I don't consider it a boss fight, it does not need to meet the criteria, so therefore I don't consider it a bad step.
Yeah, of course.
But the tomb, there is no boss whatsoever. I don't like artifacts being you can't see it here, but I'm doing air quotes. Boss. Unless it actually is like something like the Guardian, I don't mind that. Sure, that's a boss that's present. Like, you look at that and think, oh yeah, that's a boss. But
exactly.
Like the Sentinel artifact never was a boss in its previous what's it called, iterations. And so why would it be a boss here? It's not.
It just doesn't make sense contextually. And I know people would probably argue the boss is the red versions of the Mimic or Amalgam or whatever, but I feel like that's, I don't know, I don't consider those bosses myself.
Well, this goes on to my second point of that the Sentinel artifact boss fight is not interactive. It uses its minions to do the dirty work for it while it just sits around and fires lasers. It's not a boss fight. Like, it's not a bot. Like, yeah, like even those like red versions, sure, they're just stronger powered versions of mini bosses that we've already faced, but they're still just mini bosses nonetheless. And it's still just they're still just minions that are doing the heavy lifting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So the Sentinel artifact is not interactive. Like, the Sentinel artifact itself is not interactive at all. It doesn't do anything apart from fire lasers.
Yeah.
And it's not really engaging either. Yeah, sure, you're doing. I mean, to some extent, perhaps it does meet this criteria because you are doing something in that fight to get it to the point where you do need to, or where you can damage it.
Yeah, I mean,
like by defeating those red enemies, but you're still just fighting off minions at that point.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's like a glorified minion fight. It's yeah, I'm completely in agreement. It's not one that I even today still just enjoy doing. It's just like you said, it's not engaging to play in the slightest, and the difficulty feels so artificial. Like having stuff that can happen, like I think everyone hates one-tap enemies, and having like amalgams that can grab you and immediately put you down with no chance to fight back, I think it's just poor. To put it bluntly.
No minion should be stronger than the boss. I think one tap or wipe ability should only be reserved to the boss, and that should be like once. I think Voyage got this right perfectly. Is that like that wipe attack was very telegraphed, and there was a lot of time. Like basically, if you went down to that wipe attack, that was on you. It was not because the boss did it out of nowhere.
Yeah, you had time to prepare for it, and if you were in a bad situation, it can be argued that you just didn't position yourself well for it and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So you can totally blame the player on that. I think that's the most important part, is that if you can blame yourself for screwing up, it's probably well designed. If you're not getting annoyed at the game, the old Jason Blundell philosophy.
Yeah.
If you're blaming the game and getting angry at the game because you feel like it cheated you, it's probably not that well designed.
Yeah, and this is it. Like, I mean, like that's a mantra that any developer should have. Is that the player needs to blame themselves, not the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's been a fair few times where, especially in recent Call of Duty boss fights, that I've been like, this is a game issue, not a player issue.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, I could talk about, I could easily rant about the Ashes of the Damned boss fight, because that is terrible. That's not engaging, and that's not interactive. Yeah, the boss is present, but
is it though?
No, driving. Well, yeah, because he is there, and you're like, that is a boss, and it does do the majority of the attacks rather than letting the minions do the dirty work.
But does it? Because I feel like it's not mostly just the missiles that it uses and nothing else.
Yeah, but it's still the boss attacking you, isn't
True.
it?
But would you say 90% of the deaths we've had was due to the boss or the minions?
Well, it's the boss blowing up the car and then the minions. Sure.
Yeah, I suppose. If you want to fight on technicalities.
I would argue the minions. I would argue the minions supplement the boss in this one. However, it feels like the boss is not very present because it's not very interactive or engaging, because you're driving around the whole time waiting for your car, like focusing more on your car rather than the actual boss. And in the meantime, you're just waiting to just ram it. Like, it's mind-numbing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. You're not doing anything in the fight to progress it, really.
Yeah.
And it's a damage sponge. I'd like to say it's a bullet sponge, but it's actually more of a car sponge, to be honest with you.
I think it's like hard to believe. I haven't tried it myself. That in Cursed, the boss fight is even harder. I find that impossible to believe. It's already like obnoxious as hell. I can't even imagine. Like, I have done it. I do want to put that out there. I've done it, but it's not one I would do again. I'm certainly not interested in doing any of the boss fights in Cursed, like whatsoever. I'm happy just doing them on normal and calling it a day. Yeah, I think, like I say, for me at least, the Black Ops 7 fights and the direction they've gone with it, at least until Totenreich, I feel like I say, it's an improvement. It's still not great, but it's a step in the right direction. Yeah, I think like it's mainly this game specifically that's brought this up for me, because some of these fights are just infuriating and just don't feel engaging or fun to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I say, Vatharion pretty much like sets the tone for the rest of them. Or at least Paradox Junctions is okay, it's better, but it's still not great.
The Vatharion fight, how many times did we do that one? Before we just
like 3 times, I think, and then we're just like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah. In 3 times, the Vatharion boss fight made me feel as miserable as I did for the whole of Exo Zombies.
Yeah, and it's such a shame, because when we were playing the map before that, we were actually having quite a bit of fun with it. Playing Ashes itself, it was just when we got to the boss fight, it's like, ugh. Why?
Yeah.
Why have you done it like this?
Yeah. I would like to kind of caveat and say that sometimes, I know I have like my pie criteria, but sometimes a boss can tick all of these and yet still not be a good boss fight. And that's because sometimes those bosses have an unfair mechanic that makes it miserable and not very good. And when I say unfair mechanic, I mean that not just me, but like I've heard other people say like this is bullshit. Like, so for example, I'm trying to think of some Silksong ones, but Silksong springs to mind here the most because and I'm thinking more of the Gauntlet route here. I know they're not boss fights, but I know that this can apply. Well, no, to be fair, this has applied to some of the boss fights in it as well. Like, is it Sister Splinter?
Yeah, Sister Splinter's one of them,
Yeah. Where you mentioned about positioning before. Positioning mattered. They got that, and I said that they got that down to a T in the first game. Because it felt like when projectiles were being fired at you or attacks were being directed at you, it was down to your positioning in the first one that mattered at whether or not you got hit or not. Whereas in Silksong, there's a lot of random bullshit go moments, and it comes down to luck.
Yeah, especially when
it's not,
when they start filtering in those smaller enemies as well, that are almost like impossibly awkward to hit. During this particular game, it's not one that like personally gave me too much trouble when I did it, but I know people who have played it and who have had a really hard time with Sister Splinter. So I know it was like it is one of those big issue ones for a lot of people. So I totally get where you're coming from with it.
There's another one that I've just remembered that I remember talking to you and ranting about this. Before, it's the what's the big fly enemy or is it Grubs something? No, that's something else.
It's been a while since I played Hollow Knight. I know you didn't like the one that's like that purple, like almost barrel looking one that fires those projectiles up in the air. I remember you weren't too big on that one. Can't remember what it's called either.
Oh, I don't know. We're doing great here.
It would be on our Discord, no doubt, if we start the channel open.
Yeah.
I'll scroll through it. I'll have a look.
I'm trying to. Okay. But it's a relatively early boss in Silksong.
Oh god, is it this one?
Are you sending
is it the optional boss with like the one where it spawns all those tiny ones? I never fought it myself. So I can't speak for this one, so feel free to go off on this one.
Is it in the?
It doesn't have the name, unfortunately. I don't think.
Oh, we're doing really well here.
Like I say, it's been a while since I played Hollow Knight, so I'm a bit back on the enemy bosses, but we'll see.
But yeah, this particular boss, just while I'm trying to find the name of it, is one of those bosses that is a case of random bullshit go, and does not matter where.
Sorry.
Where my position.
I was just reading one of your comments. Honestly, I feel like I'm in the soft lock because I can get past either the bird room or that cunt on the ceiling. Nice.
Savage Beast
That's
Fight,
it.
that's what
Yes.
it's called.
As soon as you said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. No, it was a case of just random bullshit go, and it did not matter. It was literally that, because I felt like I was in the softlock, because that boss and the bird room, there was I felt like it was not down to my skill of positioning, but just luck, and I hate that in boss fights where I'm totally reliant on luck here, not my skill or my abilities.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I say, I've not fought this one, so I can't really input much, but I have heard horror stories. Although there is one here. I found a tier list that you posted into the chat, so this does have all the names. What about the Watcher Knights?
Are those the ones from the first game that spawn in one at a time?
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think they're badly designed, but I think they're unfair.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know I've got the pie mechanic, and that's my core mechanic. Oh, my criteria. My pie criteria is definitely my core criteria, but there are exceptions, and those are exceptions that are very unfair to the player.
Yeah.
Those knights are assholes.
Yeah, indeed. Like you say, sometimes if like they throw like several versions of a boss at you, it can almost feel like you are dealing with a bunch of sub enemies as well. And I think this is one of those.
Yeah.
It's like the balances is one that I would throw in there.
Yeah, again, that kind of is more unfair. Like, I think balances definitely are present.
Yeah.
They're definitely interactive and they're definitely engaging, but the problem with them is that there are so many of them that you run into the unfair mechanic of them coming behind you off screen. Anything that happens off screen that the player cannot react to is a bad mechanic.
Yes, and it happens almost every time with the balances. I swear they're coded to attack you from off screen. Like, I am convinced.
Yeah. It's not so much when if it's a player, it goes back to that kind of philosophy of where the player needs to blame themselves.
Yes.
It's not that, like, in other kind of boss fights where you may turn around the camera and take your eyes off the boss yourself. It's but in the balancers fight and some other gimmick fights, but the balancers is even worse because they teleport, and can appear out of nowhere. When they come up behind you and you had no idea they were behind you in the first place, that's not a you fault, that's a game fault.
Yeah.
If you're fighting a boss, or another gimmick fight, and you, the player, loses track of an enemy, but you still know they're behind you somewhere.
Yeah.
And you still get attacked, that's on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, for all I know, perhaps there is a sound cue when they do the grab that you can dodge, but even then...
There isn't.
No, there isn't. Okay, in that case.
No, it is. I mean, like, it's subtle, but combined with the rest of the chaos of that fight, it might as well not be.
Yeah, I feel like if there's going to be a big grab like that from off screen, it should be really well choreographed that it's going to happen, because you need to have a chance to avoid it getting grabbed by, and it does so much damage as well. It nearly halves your health getting hit by that.
Yeah. Anything that kind of makes me go, like, how could I react to that, is instantly an unfair and bad mechanic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, sometimes I've gone like that, and then kind of as I've gone into subsequent fights or reruns of that fight, and I learned that actually there is a way. I'll hold my hands up and say, sure, yeah, okay, I was wrong, but when there is absolutely no way to counter that or react, that's just an unfair mechanic, and so it's not good.
Exactly. Like you say, it's one thing if you go into an encounter and you deliberately turn your back on a bunch of enemies. That's one thing. But like you say, for them to show up behind you when they previously weren't there is a different matter altogether.
Yeah. And as I said at the top of the episode, you and I are old guard players here.
Yeah.
We've done hundreds of boss fights. I don't know about thousands, but definitely hundreds of boss fights. And so we've got plenty of experience under our belts to kind of know what we're talking about when we say we know what we're talking about when we say unfair mechanic.
Yeah, like I say, I don't want to make it seem as though it's coming from a place of, ooh, you're mad because you're bad at it or whatever. Like, I feel like that's where it's going to come from for a lot of people who enjoy Black Ops 7. It's like boss fights. It's particularly, I've forgotten his name already, Vertharion. I have seen a lot of that there is a skill thing to it, but I've yet to see it. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll hold my hands up if I'm wrong on that, but from the experience I've had with it, it feels like it's mostly down to pure luck more than it is anything else.
Exactly, and like that's the other thing about Vertharion is that there is so much in that fight. There are so many times where I've gone like, this is like, how am I meant to react to this?
Yeah.
And I have to rely on luck. Luck of where his projectiles fall, luck of where my positioning is. It's just, and we've gone through boss fights we've done pretty much every boss fight, haven't we?
Yeah, more or less.
Like, even if we haven't beaten them, we've certainly done more or less all of them.
Yeah.
Like, and fought them. So we know what we're talking about when we say, like, Vertharion is not a good fight.
Yeah, it just... Like I say, even when, like... I think one of the things that really plays against it is, like, as we said before, like, even if you are surviving, even just engaging with it is just not fun. Like I say, chipping away at it while driving into it in the car just is not engaging in the slightest. Its health goes down just so like slowly. It feels like when you drive into the heads, nothing happens half the time. It only happens on occasion. So I assume it's like a threshold thing. Yeah, it's just I don't know. Vertharion for me has been, putting it bluntly, probably one of the worst bosses I've fought in recent years. I truly dislike it.
Yeah.
And like I say, again, I have done it, so this isn't coming from a place of salty can't do it. I just do not enjoy it. Like, at all.
Yeah.
But again, if you're someone who
absolutely
does, I'll hold my hands up, You do you.
I tell you a game that has some of the worst boss fights, but also the best not boss fights.
Alright.
It's the Shadow of Mordor games, both 1 and 2.
Oh, yes.
Now,
is that the one with the Nemesis system?
Yes. We're not going to touch that. Well, we're going to partially touch on that for the purposes of this, but we're not going to touch on how criminal
that it's been underutilized.
Yes. Because it still hurts. But the actual like bosses in those games, the scripted bosses, certainly in the first game, somewhat, I can't quite remember all of them, but somewhat in the second game, they're not the best boss fights. Certainly the first one has some terrible boss fights. Like, literally, there's one of them that works on like illusions based things, but they're so obvious which one's the actual boss, and so you just go up and stab him like 1 or 2 times, and that's it. And the last boss fight, to be honest, isn't even a boss fight. It's basically a quick time event.
Oh god, like yeah, that should have been in our bad boss category. QTE bosses, like Far Cry 3's final boss is a QTE. Dying Light's final boss is a QTE. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
why?
Yeah, yeah,
It's so
yeah.
unsatisfying. I don't know why anyone does it. Unless
Yeah, I
you're
totally
a
agree.
Telltale game, your endings should not be QTEs.
But I think with the Telltale games is I'll get back to my previous point in a second, but like Telltale games is that they're not built around boss fights; they're built around the story. Like
Oh yeah, I'm not taking
you-
I'm not taking that one literally. I'm just saying that you shouldn't.
so you're not.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say I'm not literally saying that they have boss fights in Telltale. I'm just saying that the only one that would get away with killing the final antagonist with QTEs is a Telltale game.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's because you expect it.
Yeah, exactly.
But but when I say like not boss fights, is that because of the nemesis system, you can make your own bosses basically as you play. Because enemies come back or they've killed you and they get stronger as you go, and so you're basically facing Uruks that have grown in power and made such a rivalry with you, and they themselves become the boss.
Yeah, I have seen it. I need to get around to playing it at some point. I do think I have it on Steam. One of them, anyway. I know one of them's got the
Honestly,
goblin with the
good.
microtransactions that everyone takes the piss out of.
Oh, they they scrapped that.
Oh, they did they? Good.
Yeah. So that's not a thing anymore. There's no microtransactions in those.
Was it
games.
actually in it at any point, or did they get cut pre-release?
It wasn't. This was in the second game. It wasn't so much a character in game. It was just a sub menu.
Right, I see.
But like, think of your like imagine your merchant from Resident Evil 4, but you accessed him via the main menu rather than actually going up to him in game.
So they just removed him from the main
That's
menu.
kind of how he worked. Yeah, pretty
Fair
much.
Good.
Yeah. And just kind of like balancing this because we have said quite a few bad boss fights.
I
but,
feel like
just to kind of balance it.
I was thinking that actually, but I was like, I feel like we glazed so much of Hollow Knight before that it's kind of
very
evened
true.
out almost.
Yeah, it's very true. Well, just to kind of name a couple of other good ones, as you already mentioned, the Nemesis fights in Resident Evil 3.
Oh yeah.
I think the majority of those. The only one I don't like is the one where you're in the pit.
Yeah, I have seen that one's kind of unpopular.
I think that feels more feels less interactive, to be honest. Like the boss doesn't really seem to be doing anything, rather than you're just kind of waiting for him to like do damage. Like he's running around the arena, and you're kind of waiting for an opening. But I think, and somewhat the last phase, the last fight is kind of falls under that kind of mechanic of him not being very interactive, especially when he's just like at the very beginning of the fight, where before you grab the super weapon, and he's just kind of like waving about. Exactly. But the fight in atop the tower, and also the fight after that, where he's running around. In the next to the fountain, but I think the arena's a lot smaller, and so he's definitely more in your face. And he only starts running around the arena in the second or third phase.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
I think those boss fights are so well done.
See, this is where
I prefer the flamethrower.
This is where I think we've thrown our credibility out, because it might surprise you, but a lot of people don't like those boss fights, which I find really surprising, because I really like them as well. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think they're like the best boss fights ever, but I think they're pretty good for what they are, especially like you said, the first couple, and like the one on the roof as well for the construction site. It's really good. The latter two, like you say, can lack a little bit, but God, the music just sells the last one. So I love the music for the last
absolutely,
one.
Absolutely. I think the majority of the boss fights in RE2 are actually pretty good as well. William Birkin's first fight and then his second to last fight, where you're with Leon in the and he's, is it with Claire as well?
The one on the train, or the one?
No, the one before that.
Yeah. The one where he's in the room with all the test tubes and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. You have to fight him with both.
I think both of those
characters, yeah. What were you saying, sorry?
Yeah, I think both of those ones are pretty good. I quite like the one with Claire where you get to use the minigun as well. That was quite satisfying.
Yes, again, that's one where I do think the music shines on that one. There's like they really play up the choir on that one, so it's got a bit more of a heavy hit feel to it.
For real.
Which I really like.
And I'm in two minds about the final Mr. X boss fight.
I think my issue with them in Resident Evil 2 is more so that in 3, when things are getting like really close, you have the dodge mechanic to fall back on. But in 2, if you're getting cornered, there's literally nothing you can do. You're getting knocked on your ass.
Yeah.
And I do find that to be a bit frustrating with 2. But it doesn't ruin it in any way. It just means you've got to be a bit more aware of where you're standing when an attack comes in. So it's not like it ruins it or anything, but it can be a bit like, especially like, you know, the fight where you have to hit him with the crane. That one, and there's barely any room on the platform. So you're like trying to dodge around it. That one can be a bit awkward, I find, when I play it.
And I must admit, I purposely left that one out because I didn't really... That one's neither here nor there for me. Like, that's more of a gimmick fight, if anything.
Yeah, for sure.
And just to kind of round off a couple of other good ones, I think the Nikolai fight is very good from GK.
Yes, yeah, I would agree with that.
And I'm specifically talking about the Nikolai portion. The Dragon portion's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's either good or bad, but the Nikolai fight is pretty good.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
And most of the fights on Black Ops 6 are good, like the Guardian. I like the Z-Rex, Patient 13, and Samantha is... I think Samantha's a pretty good fight, to be honest with you. The only issue with her is again, she's got quite a lot of health.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in two minds with Z-Rex, but it's only because of the last phase. I feel like getting cornered in that one is pretty much curtains. But it kind of falls into the same category for me as Astra Malorum when we get to that, where the boss is just constantly riding you all the way through the fight or the final phase of it, and you barely get any breathing room. But other than that, I do really like it. I might have to start wrapping this up now, though, if that's all right. I kind of get a bit tight on time.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's all good. Just real quick, I mean, we could talk about this for ages, and being as we're going into boss fight season for Black Ops 3 and onwards, we're going to be talking about boss fights quite a bit. So this is kind of like setting the bar. But just real quick, before we go into our final thoughts and wrap up, is there any like memorable bosses for you that we haven't already mentioned? I
feel like a lot of Hollow Knights kind of fall in here for me, where I'm like, they're not ones that instantly come to mind when I think of like great bosses, but I did enjoy them. I'm not saying any of them are bad, but there are some, like I said, like Dung Defender that I do think is extremely memorable, but it's not one that I would say is like, you know, top 10 best fights ever material or anything like that. Lace is another one where I think it's like really, really good, or really memorable. A few zombies ones, obviously. Like I said, I think Totenreich's boss fight is cool and aesthetic. The whole fight and that, and getting to interact with that, I think is really cool. Watching them, you know, duke it out, I think is a really unique and interesting take for a fight like that. What about you?
Just to kind of touch on that real quick, because there's just to kind of mention here, there's a whole aspect of boss fights that we haven't mentioned at all, and that is the spectacle of some boss fights.
Yes, that's true.
And I love when boss fights are an absolute spectacle.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's one of the things I actually really liked about the Totenreich one is that you're focused while you're focusing on the zombies. You got the two like behemoths just fighting it out in the distance.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just hilarious and cool.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of boss, like for me, like this kind of falls into memorable as well. It's like there's a few bosses in Elden Ring main game that are memorable for me, and again that's largely because of spectacle, but also a lot of the stuff of that we mentioned before. One of them, I don't think this is going to be a spoiler because you know about her, Melania.
Yeah.
It's not just because she's the most difficult boss in the series up to that point, but her boss fight is a spectacle.
Yes. So I've heard.
Yeah. There's a couple of others from Dark Souls 3, the final one from the DLC. I'm not going to spoil this here because we'll cover that when we play that game, but those of you who played Dark Souls 3 and the DLC, you'll know who I'm talking about. That boss is my all-time favourite Dark Souls boss.
Nice.
Some Elden Ring ones that beat him, but yeah. There's some from Liza P. There's one called The King of Puppets, which is a really good fight.
Right.
Quite memorable for me. As we've mentioned, quite a few zombies ones.
Yeah.
So many zombies ones. One that springs to mind, though, for the zombies ones is the Panzermörder, though, as memorable.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that.
And again, that's spectacle-based, really, based on the cutscene.
Yeah. I remember watching the one of the live streams back then of them beating it for the first time and seeing the boss and being like, that is fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
It was so well done. I wish they'd stayed in that lane for the rest of the mode.
Same. I mean, we've mentioned quite a lot of bosses already that I think are quite memorable.
Yeah.
One boss that is rather memorable, more because it's so bad that it's funny, is the Pinwheel boss fight.
Oh yeah, of course. Pinwheel's the best boss in Dark Souls.
Absolutely.
No argument.
Yeah. Yeah. One really memorable one is the final DLC boss for Elden Ring, in the Shadow of the Erdtree.
Oh, is this the ball breaker one?
Yeah. Count your lucky stars because you're gonna fight it.
Post patch, yeah.
Post nerf, yeah, post patch. I fought that bastard pre nerf.
I've already got the fear of God in me about it, to be honest. Someone I watch on YouTube that does play like these kind of games said it took them like 20 tries or something to do it. So I'm like, if they play these games for a living,
that tracks,
and they can't do it without taking 20 tries. Ooh.
Yeah, that's about right.
What they did say about it did line up pretty heavily with what you said, though. Like some of the attacks, like hitboxes were mismanaged, and some of it was more nonsense than it is fair challenge.
Put it this way: its weapons pre-nerf were basically two giant cylinders that you could dodge one, but there was absolutely no frame rate whatsoever. No iframe could protect you from that second strike.
Right.
It was mandatory damage at that point.
Did they constantly like overlap or something? Right.
Yeah, basically, like as it was finishing its first swing, the second swing was coming in, and so you were basically dodging into the second swing as it was like, and while dodging through. So you dodged through the first one, but you were gonna get hit by the second one no matter what.
Right. So is it more fair now? I'm going to assume it is.
Oh yeah. They reduced the hitbox size of that particular attack.
Good.
I know.
I was going to pump my chest and say I'm going to down patch my game. Doing it legit.
You can do that, Josh, when you don't go, oh god, every time I say shall we play Elden Ring.
It still puts the fear of God in me. Night Rain has not taught me enough, apparently, which is what I learned when we played Elden Ring again.
Just one thing, just lastly, under memorable boss fights. I know you don't. I'm assuming you don't play. Do you play Pokemon?
I played the last one, not the one that's just come out, the one in the city, but the one with the Pokemon that's a bike.
Oh,
that's the
one.
only one I've played.
Scarlet and Violet. Okay. Well, I'm assuming you know what gym leaders are.
Oh yeah.
Like Elite Four and things like that. Okay, cool. So
I played Pal World.
I know they're not. I don't know whether you classify like the champion that you fight at the very end of the game or that you battle at the very end of the game as a boss necessarily. I think I think I would, but there's one champion in Gen 4. Her name's Cynthia, and she is an absolute tyrant because her team is so well balanced.
Oh god.
And yeah, she really really tough. And she's such a memorable boss.
Right, I might have to try it at some point. Which game is this?
There's you'd want either Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum if you're playing DS.
Right.
If you got Switch, then you can go for Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl.
Right, I do have a Switch, so I might check that out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there. So let's just go into our final thoughts on, if we have any, really, of what makes a boss fight.
Well, I would say I'm pretty happy with what we've put so far. I think we've laid it out pretty well, well, how we feel about it. Again, if there's anything anybody else thinks that we didn't include here that we probably should have, feel free to let us know in the comments. This isn't supposed to be a slight, pretty man-spreading and telling everyone how boss fights should be. It's obviously just an opinion piece.
Yeah.
So again, if you disagree, that's totally fine. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to add. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously not an exhaustive list, and there's so much stuff that we haven't kind of covered, and there's so many bosses that we've fought that we haven't mentioned, so which, with the amount of bosses we fought, we're not going to be able to cover everything.
Yeah.
But I think we've definitely got the groundwork for what to expect when we do talk about boss fights going forward, and I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. There are some great boss fights, there are some terrible boss fights, and there are some really memorable boss fights from each. And I think, for the most part, where it's appropriate, a video game is definitely served better when there is a boss fight in it at some point or not.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be interested if you are in like revisiting this topic down the line, see if our opinions change on it at all.
Oh, for real.
Oh, yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like, we're going into boss fight season as we talk about Black Ops 3 and onwards, basically.
Yeah.
So this won't be the last time we visit boss fights.
Absolutely, and we've still got Elden Ring on the back burner as well. So when we do manage to break that out as well, we'll cover that and continue the Dark Souls little series we did.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's leave it there, and we'll close off this episode. So, next episode of Undead Ramblings, we're going to kick off the next arc of our Zombies retrospectives as we seek to make a better tomorrow in Black Ops 3's Zombie season, starting with Breaking the Curse in Shadows of Evil. And the episode after that, we rejoin with the Primus crew as they begin their journeys across the multiverse in The Giant. As always, please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. Josh is now on the journey to 10k subscribers, so your support would be fantastic.
We'll definitely have to do something for it if we get there.
Yeah, for real. Maybe a live stream or something. Other than that, you can catch me at Mr. Hughes95 on Instagram. And with that, I'll leave Josh with the final word.
Alright, so there is one thing I did forget to add in channel updates earlier that I've just thought about. For some inexplicable reason, YouTube has hit me with the middle finger and said, you need to verify your YouTube channel again. So links will be missing again for the next couple of uploads until, for whatever reason, they get it back. I'm not entirely sure why they took it off of us, because it's a one-time check. Maybe it's because I stopped uploading for a little while. Who knows? So until that comes back in, don't expect there to be links in the description, but you can check on the about page on the channel for all the usual stuff. So I would say we'd like to know what your thoughts are on what we've talked about today, and if you have any different opinions on it and what you think a boss fight should be. Again, Twitter and Blue Sky are also in the about section along with Discord, and I think that's about it. So we'll see you in the next one. See ya.